Yeah, let's go ahead and kick it over to the Xbox showcase predictions, because I think similarly here when because I started getting to a point after that PlayStation showcase where I was like, should I change my predictions a little bit for this Xbox show? Should I lessen them? And it's like, first off, I do got to say that this tweet, I'll pop it up on the screen here for you. This tweet that Xbox sent out, that is something that actually had me like, because when I was thinking about changing my predictions and slightly lessening my expectations or whatever, Xbox's official Twitter account, and shout out to my buddy Jeffrey who did the PlayStation review, the showcase review. He sent me this. Xbox's official Twitter account tweets out, "What a good looking group," and it says "coming to Xbox," and it's fucking 3, 6, 12 of the games that were showed off at the PlayStation showcase that are coming to Xbox. So just like a straight up fucking 50 Cent 2003 Get Rich or Die Trying Prime Ja Rule beef, that's a fucking that's Back Down. That if you remember Get Rich or Die Trying, you remember the track Back Down.
It's a Pop Tart, sweetheart, you're soft in the middle. I eat you for breakfast, a watch was exchange for your necklace. And your boss is a bitch, if he could, he would.
That's a beef bar that Xbox just tweeted out. I mean, that's some real deal energy that they're bringing. That's some heat that they're bringing. And I loved that. I fucking loved that. Say it with your chest and come out and blow us away with your showcase, because I'm needing something to get hyped about for this summer, because that PlayStation showcase was not it. So after I saw that, I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to keep my expectations in line where they already were, keep my predictions in line where they already were, and hope for the best with this Xbox showcase. And I'll also say this as well: if Xbox had a showcase like what PlayStation had, the media would have ate them alive. They would have eviscerated Xbox for having a show like that with so much third-party stuff, so much shit that you can play anywhere. The media would have ate them alive, and that's true. That's true. And I'm not trying to do the console worry shit, because you guys know I don't give a fuck. I've crucified Xbox many times on this channel. I've shit on PlayStation many times on this channel, and so that's not something that I give a shit about. But if Xbox had a showcase that was that third party reliant, that live service reliant, it would have got ate alive in the media. So with all that being said, let's dive into the predictions here, and I'm keeping my expectations. I think that this showcase is a lot about updates. I think it's going to be for a lot of games we already know about, and I'm A-okay with that. Just the same way I was A-okay with that with the PlayStation showcase, if we would have got that, but we ended up not even getting that for updates for games that we should have absolutely have. Anyways, I'm okay with this being an update for a lot of those games that got announced in 2020, and giving us some gameplay, giving us some ideas for release dates, and that's what I'm expecting here. So my expectations aren't through the roof for I have my dream Xbox showcase video up where you can go watch that, where I'm talking about, all the crazy shit that I would love to see in a fucking perfect magical world where I get to, call the shots and see a WWF Raw 2 pop up, or a, new Star Wars game or whatever the fuck. But I'm keeping my expectations somewhat in check here, while also, wanting them to show the goods, because I do think Xbox needs to show the goods. They've had a rough little run here as of late, and I think this showcase could really turn, especially right now when PlayStation, I would say the general public was more negative than positive on that showcase. Maybe not quite as negative as me, but more negative than positive, I would say, was the general reception to that showcase. So go ahead, go out guns blazing. Let's see what you got. Show it all at this showcase. So let's go ahead and get into this bad boy, the Xbox 2023 showcase predictions. And I'm just going to go through a lot of their first party teams and look over what they're working on, look over if I think it's possible, if it's not possible to show up, and then lock in some predictions. So Let's start it off with old Fable. Playground working on Fable. We haven't seen this since 2020. There were rumors of Playground hitting some developmental roadblocks with this being, their first huge third-person AAA open world like action role-playing game. And that's a tall task, and we've heard like developers that were leaving Playground and going off and starting their own projects. Like, you could assume that there's maybe some turmoil in Playground right now, going on with Playground right now, but I don't think it really matters with Fable. I think this is one of your most important IP. I think you have to show this off, and this is one that I'm not expecting much for. Maybe just like a 45 to 50 second vertical slice of the game, just to see a little bit of what this game is on a deeper level than what we got with that first CG trailer. I'm not saying like full-blown gameplay, but maybe like glimpses of gameplay. I'm assuming this is probably a 2026-ish title. So I really love the idea of bringing out the director, bringing out someone from Playground and having them come on stage and being like, hey, look, this is massively, massively ambitious for us, where we're, tackling it with all our fucking might, doing what we can, but this is a brand new genre to us. We're running into some hurdles, but I think we're on the right track. Like, something that's just fairly transparent. I imagine this is a tall task for that team. So, but I think we have to see it. It's just been so long, and that IP is so important. And I think if we go another year without seeing it, a lot of fans are likely going to get the idea or expectation that it's maybe been like canceled, or it's just running into possible indefinite delay territory or development hell territory. And I don't think that's the message that they want to send. So I'm going to say we do see Fable. Then we move on into the Coalition, and this is a team that supposedly had a project canceled, that they were working on possibly a new IP, but then they had it scrapped. I don't know if that is 100% true, but if it is, that makes me skeptical, because the big question here is if we see Gears of War 6. And if that's true, that they were recently working on a new IP and it got scrapped, I'm going to say we don't see Gears of War 6 here. I think that there's some potential for a cinematic reveal, but it's like, I don't really know if it's even necessary. If it's going to be a ways out, I don't know if it's necessary to really show it off. If, that team was actually working on another IP and it was scrapped and they're just beginning development within the last couple years, like, give it till the next year's showcase, because this isn't one that you have to meet any expectations of. Like, you haven't shown this off yet, so don't show it off early and get into the same predicament that you were in with, a lot of the games that like Fable. But I'm going to say we don't see a Gears of War 6 pop up. I think there's some realm of possibility where we could see a Gears of War remaster collection. I don't think that's too out of the question, but I'm going to say no on Gears of War 6. Let's move into Arcane Leon. And I think that we could possibly see just a glimpse of what Arcane Leon is cooking up with Deathloop being their last game and being a huge hit. You wonder if it would be a sequel. Then, your optimistic mind or your hopeful eye starts to look towards Dishonored 3. You're like, damn, that could be a big kind of momentum changer for Arcane right now after Redfall. I don't think we'll see either pop up once again with the whole idea of announcing things too early. I think that's something that Xbox is going to try to avoid moving forward. Now, if you really wanted to swing the momentum just to let people know, hey, we're working on Dishonored, And then once again, if you could have someone from Arcane walk out there and say, hey, we're beginning development on Dishonored. We just wanted to let fans know that that's the next game coming from the Leon team. Like, I don't think that's a bad idea for in terms of raising the fucking momentum and kind of lifting the morale for the Xbox community. But I'm going to say no, we don't see anything from Arcane Leon. Indiana Jones being made by Machine Games. This one is because we're seeing that Indiana Jones movie releasing this summer, I believe. So once again, talking about synergy, this would definitely be a timely reveal for Indiana Jones. And we did see this one a while ago as well, with just that very quick glimpse of like the whip on the table and the map and the compass, and like wasn't a lot moving there for that Indiana Jones trailer. So maybe a slight update on it. I just really hope that this is a third person game where you can actually see Indiana Jones. I know Machine Games has historically only worked on first person titles, so I'm just hopeful it's a third person game. I don't think we see it, unfortunately, but I really do hope that this is a third person title and not a first person title. I said it in the Dream Showcase thing. It would be such a bummer if Xbox's only, fucking licensed IP, only, whatever you want to call it, was where you couldn't see the iconic character that you're playing as. That would absolutely fucking suck. But Indiana Jones by Machine, I'm saying we don't see it. Next one that I absolutely do think pops up is Avowed. I think Avowed 100% is at this showcase. It's been a long time since we've seen Avowed. And this is Obsidian's first big game since The Outer Worlds in 2019. So definitely long enough to expect some real gameplay from this, I would say. I know they've been working on Grounded and Pentiment with smaller teams, but this is the big dog. This is the big daddy. This could turn some heads. If this shows well, this could really turn some heads. This kind of Skyrim competitor, which can't even be a competitor because they're under the same umbrella now, but this very Skyrim-esque energy coming from Obsidian, who a lot of people consider top tier storytellers in this industry. This, to me, if we saw something that wowed people with gameplay for Avowed and was like, holy shit, I've never seen something like this in this style of RPG with, crazy magical powers, which it seems like that is kind of the, at least the concept behind that trailer that they put out a while ago. It seemed like you were going to have some sort of spells and magical abilities. Like if they showed off some cool shit like that, and it looked real fluid, solid first-person gameplay while also making some decisions, and then dropped a fucking hammer for early or a Q1, even if they just said Q1 2024 for their release date, and even if it got pushed to Q3 or Q2, like, I don't think that'd be the biggest deal in the world. If this came out 2024, that's a big win for Xbox. A big win. I'm not saying all of that. I'm not saying that it's going to get a release date, but I am absolutely saying we see Avowed, and I will be stunned if we don't see this game. So Avowed, we haven't seen it since 2020. It's popping back up onto the scene. The Outer Worlds 2, no, I think it's going to be a while until we see the Outer Worlds 2. I imagine that, Avowed comes out, let's just say Avowed comes out March 2024. Outer Worlds 2 probably doesn't come out until 2026, 2027-ish. So that would be my expectations, at least. But I'm going to say no to the Outer Worlds 2. Hellblade 2, another absolute lock. This should have a humongous showing here. We've seen a good bit of it. We need to see more. We need to see more of like the moment-to-moment gameplay, the combat, the action. How is that actually going to look in Hellblade 2? Here's my big prediction for Hellblade 2. And I might be overzealous on this one. And then once again, this is more of a shot in the dark prediction more than an expectation. I'm predicting we see Hellblade 2 with a 2023 date attached to it. It could be, once again, avowed as like a Q4 title for 2024. Hellblade 2 as like a Q1, Q2 title for 2024. I'm saying we see a holiday 2023 window, like a December, November style game, a big blockbuster for the holiday season. And this just looks like a technical marvel. The facial animations, the motion capture, the shit they're doing with is it still running on Unreal Engine 5? I think there was some controversy about that, but I don't know. Regardless, whatever fucking engine this thing's running on, it just looks absolutely fucking fantastic. And yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say holiday 2023. It gets a release date for holiday 2023, and it shows off a chunky look at gameplay to really let us know what we're going to be doing in a moment-to-moment basis with Hellblade 2. And I expect people to leave this going like, holy shit, this looks really good, really fun, and a lot more, I guess, a lot more polished than the first game. That's my big expectation. Forza Motorsport, we know that'll be here, so there's really no reason to even speculate on this. The date is what you could speculate about. You could say maybe a August release date, maybe a September, October release date. It doesn't really matter to me one way or the other. It will absolutely show up here, though. 343. I think we see absolutely nothing from 343. That studio seems to be in total disarray, just totally dysfunctional at the moment. And I think that 343 needs to abandon Halo. I think it totally needs to abandon Halo, work on a totally different IP. I know it was created to work on Halo, but I think that at times, if you're so reliant on old IP that carried you to success in the past, I think it can be stifling to the future of, these unknown new projects that you could create. Let this team go off and work on something that's slightly less ambitious. Getting something like Halo Infinite off the ground is incredibly challenging. You're talking about a game with multiplayer components, live service components, a single player campaign. I understand that, and for sure, they dropped the ball. There's no doubt that they dropped the ball. But, maybe get their morale boosted back up. Have them go work on a brand new IP, a single-player title, that they can have, a legit AAA single-player title with all their energy, all their focus being on that one game. I think that would be great to boost the morale of this team. And it would also be great to leave Halo untouched for a little while. I don't think everything needs to be around all the time. It's okay to take little breaks from these franchises. Give it a 10-year, 5-year break and come back to it when people are wanting more from it. So I'm going to say we don't see anything from 343, though, obviously. Compulsion. This is the big question mark of the show. The creators of We Happy Few and Contrast. We know that they have a new third-person cinematic action-adventure game in development, and I think we have to see it. I think we have to see something of it. They were acquired, in 2017, 2018? It's been a long-ass time since they've been acquired. I am expecting this to be, when you look at it, you're really not going to see the identity of Compulsion in this game. That's kind of my big expectation. I'm thinking this is going to be a humongous leap forward for Compulsion. When we see this, we're going to be like, oh, holy shit, this is a significant leap from, Contrast and We Happy Few. So I'm going to say we do see it, though. Maybe once again, this is one that we get a cinematic glimpse at, and I think that would be fine for this title since we haven't seen it yet. Get a cinematic glimpse of whatever that new IP is. I really want it to be like a detective sort of mystery thriller adventure. I would be absolutely on board for something like a LA Noire developed by Compulsion with a darker tone or something. But yeah, I think we do see it. Like I said, I'm cool with the cinematic glimpse since it hasn't been revealed yet. Give it a little time to cook. Let people know the idea of what they're working on. And then maybe we see it 2025, 2026 launch. Well, it probably launch 2026 or so. But yeah, I think we do see Compulsion at this show. Next up, we got In Exile. And we know that they are. This is the team from Wasteland, the Wasteland franchise. And we know that they're supposedly working on their most ambitious game, this first-person shooter RPG that's supposed to keep a lot of the DNA of their very choice-based, narrative-based decision games, marrying that with like legitimately solid first-person shooter combat. So with this being so ambitious, there's a possibility of us not seeing it until maybe next year, but I'm going to go out on a limb here. This is maybe my most risky. I don't know. There's a couple other risky ones in here. I'm going to say we do see that In Exile title. Similarly to Compulsion, just a little glimpse of it to get an idea, and then maybe next year, because I really like this style of announcement. Get the idea of the game with a quick cinematic glimpse, maybe a little bit of gameplay, and then really show off the gameplay the next time you show off the game, which if that happens to be next year at the 2024 showcase, I'd be a-okay with that, especially knowing how ambitious this title is. So I'm gonna say we do see it though, and I think that might be on the riskier side of things. I pray to God, once again, talking about that Dream Showcase, I pray to God that it's a Star Wars game. I don't think it will be, but I think that would be magical to see this team working on a first-person shooter like Bounty Hunter style title. I think that would be so fucking sick. And next up, we go into the Initiative, the Perfect Dark, coming from the Initiative and Crystal Dynamics. And this is one that I don't know how much weight to put into that rumor that Tomb Raider, the Tomb Raider game that's being published by Amazon or funded from Amazon. There was rumor that Tomb Raider game was going to release before Perfect Dark. And a part of me's like, man, that sounds crazy because Perfect Dark was announced so long ago. And Tomb Raider, that Amazon Tomb Raider game was announced somewhat recently. So a part of me goes, that can't be true. But then you're, thinking about Amazon throwing a fucking bag at Tomb Raider, like that could become priority number one. I don't know. I worry about this Perfect Dark game in general. I wonder if it's going to satisfy fans if it is a third-person shooter and not that first-person style of gameplay that they expect from the Nintendo 64 days with Rare. I'm going to say we don't see it here. I worry if we see this game for a long time. Like, a part of me wonders if we ever see this thing released. I don't know. With Crystal Dynamics being on it, I think we will see it at some point. I'm not hopeful or optimistic with this at all. I'm going to say no to Perfect Dark. Tango Gameworks, after their humongous hit with Hi-Fi Rush, you expect them to probably not show up here. They did tease The Evil Within 3 in Hi-Fi Rush, so it's like, please, just once again, as a dream style prediction, I would love to put this on here, but going realistic, I don't think it would be this year if we did see it, because you're looking at Ghostwire Tokyo. That was a 2022 game, I believe, and Hi-Fi Rush, the 2023 title, which was a smaller team at Tango, but that's a 2023 game. I'm assuming they were working on another project simultaneously, but if it's The Evil Within 3 with a huge budget, that'll probably be a 2024-2025 showcase popping up for the first time and probably releasing way later in the generation. But golly, man, to see a Microsoft-funded Evil Within 3. Like, I love The Evil Within 1, love The Evil Within 2. The Evil Within 2 is probably my favorite modern survival horror game. Well, Resident Evil 4 Remake's up there too, but I just fucking adored The Evil Within 2. I think it's an absolutely amazing title, and it would get a huge pop if it showed up at this showcase from like the hardcore survival horror fans. I think they would be really excited to see The Evil Within 3 pop up. But I'm going to say we don't see anything at all from Tango Gameworks. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and hit you with my surprise of the show. This is what I think is going to be the big, like, wow announcement of the showcase. And I don't know what direction to really go here. I think I'm going to go safe, go simple. My heart wants to go a different way, but my brain is going Doom 3. I think we're going to see the new Doom title. What my heart wants is a new IP from it. I think that would be a huge announcement to see them working on something that, maybe is a licensed title, a Star Wars game, a Marvel game, something big like that. But when I think about just the success of Eternal in 2016 with, the last two Doom games, you imagine they're going to want to go for a trilogy here. And I think if it does pop up, and it's been a while, it's been since 2020, I believe, since Eternal came out, that pops up here with a little slice of gameplay, gets announced for like 2016 was the first Doom, then 2020 for Eternal. So yeah, you're looking at maybe a 2024, 2025 release date. I think that would be that's in line with the last two games. So it pops up here, releases next year or the year after. I think that makes total sense. So I'm going to say we do see something new from it. And if I had to put money on something, I'm going to say Doom 3 or whatever they end up titling the third game in this new trilogy of Doom titles. Heading on into Double Fine. And another real question mark for this showcase, because when they were independent, they would crank out games on almost an annual basis with their whole Amnesia Fortnite thing. And if you watch the Psych Odyssey documentary, it went into how a lot of their games came from. They would do these Amnesia Fortnite events and section off like smaller teams to go and work on these projects with like these smaller groups. And a lot of their games would come from doing these Amnesia Fortnite events each year. And it was like a way that they would take a break from whatever they were working on, whether it be Psychonauts 2 or whatever. They would do it once a year to take a break from the game, the bigger game that they were working on, and kind of recharge. And a lot of titles came from that. So if they're still doing that Amnesia Fortnite thing each year under Microsoft, then I could see them throwing out, a new Game Pass game fairly soon here, a smaller scale Game Pass game fairly soon here, and then working on, Psychonauts 3 simultaneously. Like, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, but I do kind of wonder if after Psychonauts 2, which I believe was a pretty big hit for them, I wonder if they want to get right back to Psychonauts 3 and like all hands on deck, try to get that out with a quick turnaround, because I think that would have been Tim Schafer and Double Fine one of their big regrets, or not necessarily regrets, just one of the unfortunate, impossible circumstances that they were looking at after releasing Psychonauts 1 is, I'm sure they wanted to release Psychonauts 2 within the next couple or within the next few years, and then it took fucking 15 years until we saw it. I don't think they want another situation like that, especially building off the momentum of Psychonauts 2, getting into a Psychonauts 3 in 3, 4, maybe 5 years. I think that would be kind of prime for them right now. And I don't know, I'm going to say we don't see a Double Fine game because all hands are on deck for a Psychonauts 3. That would be my expectation, but a part of me hopes they're still keeping that spirit alive and doing those, crazy Amnesia Fortnights and cranking out smaller titles on a more regular basis. And with, you look at it a different way with Game Pass, those style of games make a lot more sense for a Game Pass model to get that going on a biannual basis. Like, I think that makes a lot of sense for Game Pass. This is a big question mark for the showcase. I really don't know. I'm going to lean with my gut and say no, but I really would not be surprised if Double Fine pops up with a new IP. Smaller scale new IP. Next up, we have Rare with Everwild. I don't think we're going to see Everwild. Rare seems like totally dedicated and focused on Sea of Thieves. I don't know if we ever see Everwild. Next up, we head into Undead Labs with State of Decay 3. Another one that a lot of rumor was circulating about this studio being in a bit of not a great state, running up against some real issues, some turmoil internally with Undead Labs. And we saw State of Decay 3 at that 2020 showcase, and that's the big thing I'm going off of here with this showcase, because when you're looking at that 2020 showcase, you're looking at a show that wants to inform you about what you're going to be getting on your Series X. And if this doesn't pop up until 2024, the 2024 showcase, and doesn't release until 2025, 2026, it's like that barely even squeezes in the window for this console generation. And it's like, it just, that would not make a lot of sense to me at all, unless some of those rumors of this being a very ambitious title for Undead Labs, unless those rumors are true of the Coalition going in and assisting with development, having it be a little bit more of a third-person shooter, like deep survival horror role-playing game. If some of those rumors are true, then maybe I could see this slipping until next year's showcase, popping up onto the scene and really wowing the fuck out of people about the leap from State of Decay 2 to 3. But I'm going to say we see State of Decay 3 here, and that might be my least confident prediction of everything we've discussed so far. So that's kind of the first party stuff I want to talk about. And next we'll talk about some Game Pass stuff, some second party, third party exclusive shit like that. The big one that comes to mind immediately for almost everybody is probably going to be the Kojima game. I think we do see this Kojima game, but here's the big caveat, the big asterisk. I think everyone leaves very underwhelmed from what we see of it, from either not seeing much at all or it just looking like a very minimalistic cloud-style mobile-esque title that feels slightly uninspired. I once again, Kojima has earned my respect for sure, and there could be a world where he's using cloud technology to just fuck with people in the same way that he used the memory card systems to fuck with people with Metal Gear Solid 1 in the PS1 days. And that would be cool, like a survival horror cloud title. There is rumor of that third-person horror shooter that I done forgot the fucking... There was rumor of the name of it and everything. But if that is what this is, consider me fucking sold. Absolutely. Like, if this is a cloud game, or if it's using cloud technology to kind of mess with the player, but it's a legit like Game Pass game that you can download and a real game that you can play, like a 7-8 hour survival horror adventure, dude, absolutely. But I'm going to go with my prediction here of it underwhelming people, either not a lot being shown or it looking kind of like a mobile game. So that's going to be my prediction there for the Kojima Cloud title. We then move into Contraband, and we have seen absolutely nothing of Contraband from Avalanche, the creators of Just Cause and the Mad Max game, and we haven't seen anything since 2021. This team is stupidly talented at these overly destructive, crazy playgrounds, open world sandboxes that you're just doing ridiculous shit. They're great at developing games like that. In a game where you're smuggling drugs with buddies in what I assume will be some sort of narrative, narrative open world game, narrative co-op open world game, like that could be so fun. And with it not popping up at all since 2021, I think this probably is where we hear an update on it, if we ever hear an update on it. So I'm going to say we do see or hear something from Contraband at this showcase. So let's move into some of the Game Pass games real quick to run through these. I'm being very safe here with my Game Pass locks. These are mostly already games we know about from Game Pass. I don't think it would be a surprise to see a bunch of titles or a couple titles revealed that we have never seen before and they're announced to be coming to Game Pass on day one. I think that's a strong possibility, but I'm going pretty safe here because I've went outlandish on a few other predictions. But let's go ahead and run through these. I'm saying that we see Cocoon. I'm saying that we see Replaced. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think could pop up. Exoprimal is releasing soon. I think that pops up. Lies of P is releasing in August 2023. I could see that getting a delay, but I think it pops up. The Bounty Star, the third person shooter mech game with like the base building and shit, I think we see that. Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, I think we see that. Thirsty Suitors, the turn-based RPG, like the skateboarding, super silly, super fun looking game. That I think that pops up. The Big Con, this fantastic art style, this little adventure game about trying to keep your family's video store afloat, like very 90s cartoony sort of aesthetic, just great vibe there with The Big Con. I think that pops up. And probably some like day one PC, like strategy PC games popping up. I don't know. I'm going to say that those 9 are my Game Pass locks, but those might be really safe since we know about those already, but it's kind of hard to predict things that'll just come to Game Pass. You could go so many different directions with that. So I'm going to say we see those 9 titles, since they are somewhat imminent, or a lot of them are somewhat imminent, releasing this year in some cases. I'm going to say we see those 9 titles pop up. All right, and for this next one, we're heading into rumor territory here. This Project Belfry game. This is coming from, or supposedly coming from, the Banner Saga studio Stoic. It's this supposedly Xbox exclusive RPG of sorts. We were supposed to get that IO Interactive Xbox exclusive RPG title announced, and that ended up not being true. So I don't know. I'm going to say we don't see this Project Belfry game. As of right now, it's just a rumor. I would love to be wrong on it, but I'm saying we don't see that pop up onto the scene. Stalker 2, I think, is one that we probably see, and we probably see a release date for, I would assume, holiday 2023 or early 2024 with that one. And my final prediction for the show here, game-wise, is that we see Hollow Knight Silksong pop back up onto the scene. I know that was just delayed recently, and they said that, they're polishing it up, that the game was much more ambitious than they ever expected, but I'm still going to say we see Hollow Knight Silksong. I'm going to say we see another look at it, since it is coming to Game Pass day one. I'm going to say we see another look at it, maybe with a 2024 date on it. So that is my final game-related prediction, and really my final prediction at all. I wonder if and when Microsoft is going to acquire Asobo, the studio who made Plague Tale Requiem and Microsoft Flight Simulator. Like, I think that's almost a guarantee at some point that Microsoft acquires them. But I don't know. I'm not 100% sure if that's something that we could expect right now with all this CMA shit going on, with all this Activision Blizzard shit going on right now. Like, that might be something that waits until that deal is either blocked or passed or whatever. I think that we might be waiting a while until we see another acquisition from Microsoft in the game space. So that is going to be my final predictions for the showcase. We'll run through them real quick here. We got Fable, we got Avowed, Hellblade 2, Forza, Compulsion, In Exile's new IP, State of Decay 3, Contraband, Kojima's Cloud game, Cocoon, Replaced, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Exoprimal, Lies of P, Bounty Star, Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, Thirsty Suitors, The Big Con, Stalker 2, and Silksong. So, and then the big surprise of the show being Doom 3. So those are my 21 predictions. I don't think that's a crazy list of games to predict there. I think that's somewhat on the safer side of things. There are some wild ones. Fable could be a wild one. I think that Compulsion should pop up. In Exile might be a wild one. State of Decay 3 might be a wild one. Kojima's Cloud game might be a wild one. But overall, I think that's once again, I don't think I'm going way out of the realm of possibility here. I'm expecting Xbox to line up and show you what the next couple years within their ecosystem, what we're going to get, what it's going to look like on, because Xbox, what I will say, and this I very much appreciate, usually their showcases are relating to shit that you're going to get in first party capacity or day one Game Pass capacity. So it feels like a literal Xbox related showcase, not a third party showcase that features titles that really can be played anywhere, which, some of the Game Pass games can be played anywhere, but you're getting them for fucking $15 a month. It feels very related to an Xbox showcase. And that's what I want from an Xbox showcase, from a PlayStation showcase. Show me the big dogs that are coming from a first party or an exclusive capacity. So yeah, that is my final predictions for the Xbox showcase. I will be reviewing it the day, I think it's June 12th, June 12th, I believe. As soon as I can watch that bad boy, I'll be coming back, reviewing, recapping everything that was announced. So, yeah, stay tuned for that.